forward into touch. With me in the commentary box is Johan Smith. Johan Smith, good afternoon.
Good afternoon and welcome here at Menlo Park. For the second match of the first day of the North-South was an encouraging start there for Garsfontein with Diego Apollos getting hands on ball, and watch out for Diego Apollos. Very promising outside centre of Garsfontein, and pleasure doing the game with you, and hopefully it'll be a cracker. Two real powerhouses in South African schoolboy rugby traditionally is Garsfontein and Outeniqua High School from George.
Garsfontein have already played 6 games this season. They have won 5 of them, with a shock loss to a great Transvaal side at the weekend. First time in 25 years that Transvaal overcame Garsfontein.
See the 8th man, Corné Struwig, picking up there for Outeniqua and barging his way forward. Met with stern resistance there from Garsfontein. Box kick by the scrum of Outeniqua. Well contested in the air there, but unfortunately knocked on by left wing Ridge Gaffley for Outeniqua, but very well contested in the air.
So as you mentioned, Johan, Diego Apollos scored 7 tries last year. It's his 2nd season of first team rugby, and he also played SA schools, so watch out for him. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens at the scrum. Garsfontein will be looking to get on the front foot. Yuri Claessens, Johannes taking it to the line. It's a loose pass, and it's picked up by Skeepers. And he toes it ahead. And here is Stalmeester.
Big contact there in the midfield as Stalmeester gets taken to ground. Outeniqua joining the ruck and looking to protect their ball. It's Struwig out to his fly-off, looking for some grass, and finding it. Encouraging start and a great kick by the fly-off. As we see the fullback of Garsfontein trying to avoid the contact there. Unfortunately taken in there by Dylan Peterson from Outeniqua. Good defense, and Garsfontein stuck in their 22 for at this stage of the game.
Austin with the clearance. It's a big kick. Looks pretty promising. And that is a magnificent kick by the number 12, Johan.
Yeah, it's a great pressure reliever. Unfortunately, then number 15 and the fullback, Jandre Skeepers of Garsfontein, was caught in possession there. But beautifully exited out of their own 22. And they've got Garsfontein back into the half of Outeniqua. And it will be the hooker Eldon Lotz who can feed the line out for Outeniqua.
Lotz, it's a loose line out, but they still gather it back. Outeniqua under massive pressure.
Something that we saw in the first game of the day as well. The line-outs early season, a bit of woes still, and obviously been training hard and just need to get it match practice. Outeniqua only played 1 game so far this year, I think, and obviously just a little bit ring rusty still, and they'll be looking to sort that out pretty quickly. Otherwise they'll be under massive pressure from a quality Garsfontein outfit.
Agreed. They had a practice match against Rondebosch on Saturday down in George, whereas Garsfontein, well, this is their 7th game of the season, so they've already also had a tough game, Garsfontein, against Landbou. They went down to Wellington and got an impressive victory there, 24 points to 20.
And if I believe correctly, or if I remember correctly, they were trailing at half-time by 17 points to 7. And a massive second-half performance by Garsfontein, especially away from home. As we see Struwig feeding the scrum for Outeniqua. Gives the signal to his props, and a massive scrum by Garsfontein. Struwig, though, gets the ball out. And a pressure relieving kick coming up. It's Skeepers, the fullback, well positioned for Garsfontein as he looks to carry the ball up, and with a little dink over the top. Beautifully picked up by Outeniqua. Number 13, Darren Fortuin, bumps Skeepers out of the way and gets his side onto the front foot. Struwig gets it out. Looks like the hooker Lotz carrying the ball up. Struwig once again, this time coming to the short-hand side, to the blind side, and Fortuin carrying the ball up once again.
There was a massive hit on Jandre Skeepers, and he isn't the smallest of characters as well.
Definitely, and also one to look out, according to ex-Gars's boy, Bayer Swanepoel, who currently plays cricket for the Free State in Bloemfontein, and mentioned to me the names of Jean-Andre Skeepers as well as Yuri Claessens at number 9, and then obviously Diego Apollos at number 13.
Both those boys, Yuri Claessens and Diego Apollos, are in the elite player development squad. And this Garsfontein side is really full of stars, Johan.
It's as well, falls back quite well into his 22, takes on a lot of the responsibility, and when he kicks out of hand, he looks for grass, and all attributes of a quality 10, as we see Robinson restarting the game here for Outeniqua.
It's a hanging kick, and that's almost well done by Outeniqua, but it's a turnover, and Garsfontein have it. So can they get out of their own half? There's an overlap on the left. They can get quick hands. Apollos, the space rocket, this time puts it to boot, and Skeepers is flying after that, but Dylan Petersen from Outeniqua is as safe as a house. But they're under the cosh here, Johan.
Beautiful covering there by Petersen, as we see Outeniqua looking to clear their lines. Good vision showed there by Apollos, although he might have kept that one in hand, as we see Garsfontein with another chance on the counter-attack. Big run there in the midfield by Garsies. And big contact. Just like to see who was carrying the ball up there. Looks like Etienne Blanche carrying up there in the midfield. Big contact, big carry. Unfortunately, just losing the ball. And also something we saw in the previous game quite a lot. Great build-ups, and then just at critical stages, loss of possession for the sides.
Also, interestingly enough, Keegan Johannes mostly started at fullback this season, and he's come in at 10 for Campbell Willemse, and Jean-Andre Skeepers takes the fullback role. Competitive scrum there.
I was very, very nearly another tight head for Garsies, and as we see Struvich with a box kick, he's got a pretty big left foot on him, is Corné Struvich, the number 9. As we see Garsies making ash of that one. And then, unfortunately, one of the big forwards on his way back. He was never going to let that one go.
That's just instinct, Johan.
Yeah, no, especially when it comes to the big heavies up front. I mean, he's done all the trouble of getting back there, and he just told his mates, there's no way I'm not picking this one up.
So Outeniqua going for touch. Through Zinedine Robinson, and that's a promising kick. Can they cash in here?
Yeah, look, Outeniqua would like to get on the board here. They're trailing it by 5 points to 0 at this stage through that Apollos try in the right-hand corner. And I must say, there's quite a few of the Outeniqua forwards that also look like they were bought up when meat was cheap. So my money would be on the driving more, yeah. Unfortunately, you've got to secure possession first, and it looks like eventually they have, but then Garsfontein turns it over once more. Well, there was basically 3 mini turnovers in that little session of play, as Keegan Johannes gets an opportunity to relieve the pressure, and does so beautifully with a kick up to the 22.
Johan, it must be pretty difficult for Outeniqua. It's their second game of the season. Garsfontein, this is their 7th, and maybe they're just feeling that a bit at the moment, the line-out time and set piece.
Yeah, definitely. You can see the cohesion is not quite there. First line out, the jumper was up too early. Second line out, you go up too late. Hooker's timing isn't there yet, and but that'll grow. That'll grow during the game, and that'll grow during the week. Maybe they'll look at the statistics next year and realize, as they lose another line out, that they need to play a couple of games before North-South.
Johannes in the pocket, and they're going to go for this. Austin Apollos, the danger man, 2-on-1, does brilliantly. And look at this blistering pace from Kalitz.
Good covering by the left wing, Ridge Gaffley for Outeniqua. As he looks to run it out and he gets his offload away. Encouraging stuff here from Outeniqua, running it out of their own 22. Beautiful work by Godfrey.
And it's a penalty to Garsfontein. So this is decision time, yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there as Outeniqua goes straight to ground and sealing off that ball, looking to protect it. As we see Keegan Johannes coming closer. What will the decision be? I'd be entitled to kick at goal, yeah.
I agree, Johannes will take them to 8 points up if Johannes can deliver. A little bit of some breathing space. But I'm sure at some stage in this game, Outeniqua are going to get some momentum.
Yeah, they look promising when they've got ball in hand. They've got quite a few sizable players. You can see the size of the guys. And as soon as they can get that cohesion going that we're speaking about, you know, second hit out of the season. First one was just a friendly, you know, sort of a trials match. So it is taking them a while to get going, yeah. And Garsfontein looking to capitalize on that.
Johannes. And that's also just dragged away.
Yeah, unfortunately pulled that one to the left there. And score stays at 5-0. And you get that sneaky feeling that Garsfontein should capitalize while Outeniqua is struggling to find rhythm. As we see Robinson going deep from the 22. And it's that self-same Johannes waiting the ball.
Austin back on the inside. This is good play from Garsfontein up to the halfway line. Outeniqua trying to cause drama at ruck time. And that's a big carry from Garsfontein. Johannes wants it, but the forwards decide to bash it up.
Yeah, Outeniqua in very quickly over that ball. Like to see that number. That was textbook stuff. And something that has really impressed me in the first game as well today. You know, it's a lot of the loose forwards, but they actually looked like the number 3 prop. The tight head prop, Bram van Heystien from Outeniqua, doing yeoman work there at the breakdown and securing the penalty. Just as Garsfontein was looking to gain some momentum, they've also got a couple of big carriers and that pack of forwards. As we see Zinedine Robinson taking play up to the 10-meter line of Garsis, and the big Achilles heel for Outeniqua so far in this game, the line out. Let's see if their hooker Eldon Lotz can find his jumpers this time.
Lots of the feed. And this time, it's their best line out of the game. And they're on the attack. Robinson. And Stravach. Big ball carrier, number 8. Under pressure here, Garsfontein. There's numbers on the left for Outeniqua. But they decide to go into the traffic. And they've gone blind. The big number 4, Du Plessis. And Lots crashing it up.
Lots going to ground there as Skabot waits. And he goes on the short side, beautifully picked up, but referee spots Garsfontein. Whole back line was offside there, and using the rush defense, but just getting the timing wrong. And this will give Outeniqua a golden opportunity to get some points on the board. Must say, I've been very impressed so far with the carrying of number 8 of Outeniqua, Cornay Struvich. And Aylan Skabot, their scrum off's got a big left boot on him. Unfortunately, I called Skabot Struvich for the first couple of times he carried the ball, but I'm sure they will forgive us. But Cornay Struvich, big ball carrier for Outeniqua, as is the hooker Eldon Lotz. And with the haircuts, might we assume that they're still grade 11 pupils?
So Robinson with a vital kick to narrow the gap to 2 after 15 minutes. No mistake. 5 plays 3.
Now that was clinical by Outeniqua, getting the penalty for Garsis continually being offside, and just slotting it straight through the middle was Robinson. and was clinical right from the point of the line-out. The first great line-out win for Outeniqua in this match, and 5-3 here at Menlo Park.
That was a brilliant kickoff by Apollos, and Garsfontein just couldn't gather it back. So Outeniqua just outside that 22, and it's a knock-on, and this is a great chance for Garsfontein.
I think the referee's taking us back to the first knock-on from Garsfontein from the kickoff. It looked like the left winger that got up and chased the ball, and awesome as we see the line judge just having a chat to the ref. Did you see anything there? Maul it over, and let's see who we can see who's congratulated over there. Looks like one of the loose forwards that got over there.
It's Junior Snyman.
Yeah, pretty accustomed to seeing the hooker carrying the ball at the back of the maul there, but Junior Snyman going over. And I must say, Garsfontein is looking very, very clinical at this stage. As soon as they get into the Outeniqua half, they score points.
2 chances, 2 tries. Can Johannes add the extras? It's another difficult kick for him. And that's a beautiful strike.
Now that was pure, right from when it left the boot. No draw, no fade, straight through the middle. And Garsfontein leads Outeniqua 12 points to 3. Just like to use the opportunity of thanking Liberty Life for making this live stream possible. And we're coming to you live from Menlo Park, the first day of the North-South tournament at Menlo Park High School. And we've got Outeniqua from George playing Garsfontein from Pretoria.
Zinedine Robinson. It's another hanging kick. And Garsfontein get it back. Good run there by Buitendacht.
Looks like Outeniqua might have turned this one over. Skabot down the blind side. Heavily tackled there is Aiden Skabot. But well protected the ball from Outeniqua. As we see Lots carrying the ball in there. And hard contact once again. Picked up by that strong number 8, Corne Struvig. Skabot waiting for it. Looks like Lots carrying it up again. Heavily used is Eldon Lots in carrying the ball. Robinson going on his own. Robinson hits a little gap. Beautiful work by Zinedine Robinson. He gets the pass away. Fantastic! That's beautiful work. Outeniqua in the left-hand corner. Ridge Gaffley going over. Take a bow, Zinedine Robinson.
That was beautiful, Johan. There was absolutely nothing on there. Robinson making something out of nothing, and then on his left, finding Gaffley, who scores in the left-hand corner, and all of a sudden, Outeniqua are now back in the game.
I'd like to see the replay of that. There was, like you said, there was absolutely nothing on. And feet of flames, you know, Michael Flatley, Zinedine Robinson got through there. And what was most impressive about that was to see the vision of seeing Rich Gaffley on the outside and getting a long pass to the left. Probably his strongest side, so that helped. But a beautiful vision and a beautiful finish as well.
So can the danger man add the extras?
I think the Fly-Halves would be hoping for some easier kicks to come, with Johannes both convergence also from the sidelines, and now we see Robinson from Outeniqua lining one up. He's kicking into a bit of a breeze. The little breeze that there is coming from the right of the field as we're looking at it. And let's see what Robinson does. Strike looks pure. Oh, it hits the upright. Very unfortunate for Robinson, but he can take a bow. He brought his side back into the game, and Garsfontein now leading by 12 points to 8.
Diego Apollos with the restart. And he gets a lot of height on his kickoffs, always giving his team a chance of regaining the ball, and it's picked up by Ruan Barnard. And Robinson, and he has a chance, 2-on-1 situation, but we're coming back because it was a forward pass, Johan. Garsfontein would have been in big trouble there.
Yeah, Robinson is dangerous. You can see that. Unfortunately, that pass went straight forward out of the hand, and but there was lots of space on there. And Garsfontein will be doing well to just check their defensive lines. They're just leaving a bit too much space for guys like Robinson. And I'm also looking forward to see Darren Fontaine with ball in the hand. So Garsfontein should be just minding their defensive system at this stage. It's all well being great on attack, but you need to defend as well.
Snyman goes blind, the try scorer, and surely they could cash in here, and it's been lost forward by Kali Kalitz. Outeniqua breathe.
Yeah, that was very unfortunate for Garsfontein. Like so many times in the previous match and this one, just the last bit going to ground, you know, and unfortunately for Garsfontein, because that was a golden opportunity for Kalitz. And he looks to have some gas on the right-hand side, but he just lost control of the ball, and Outeniqua, like you say, can take a huge sigh of relief there, as we'll see them trying to clear their lines here. Might be even putting Hendrik Hutting up for one phase before they get the ball, as is exactly what they do. Hutting goes to ground. Now the cleaners need to come very quickly for Outeniqua. Skarbot actually going down the blind side. Cleaners getting there just in time for Outeniqua. Garsfontein nearly poached that one on the ground. And now there should be more time for Robinson to clear the lines.
Well, that ball's not out, and Garsfontein could have a go here. Beautiful pass to Apollos, and now there's big danger if they can't bring him down. Brilliant stuff. Johannes is going to finish. Great try. What a counter-attack.
Yeah, that was just awesome. A cardinal error made by the hero of 2 minutes ago. Robinson not kicking the ball out. And you can see Garsfontein getting the ball in the hands of Apollos very quickly. Beating his man on the outside and then getting the offload on the inside. Another offload on the inside and Johannes in. Now that was poetry in motion, and unfortunately Outeniqua can only blame themselves for that one.
Almost seems like every time that Apollos touches the ball, he seems to beat that first defender. Got the offload away to Lerm, and then another offload, and it was a great try. Johannes, no mistake. 17-8. 10 minutes to go before halftime.
Yeah, I must admit, very impressive Apollos so far in this match. So many times when you hear so much about a youngster, he tries to do everything on his own. And he's actually got vision to boot, and he's putting players in better positions. Like you say, beating that first tackle, and then the field opens up and he makes sure that somebody in a better position gets the ball. Garsfontein deciding to play that one. And referee says went off the shoulder, so there's no knock on. Oh, that was a big carry close to the rack by Garsfontein. And that's better defense by Outeniqua. There's the ball as it's a scramble, and it looks like Etienne Tablanche again, that man. He's a really strong carrier of the ball as well. And Apollos here, yes, space for Apollos. Kali Kalitz on his outside, and he gets the pass away. Beautiful rugby. Garsfontein and Diego Apollos, like we just mentioned, getting the ball to the player in a better situation. Kalitz running off his shoulder. Beautiful try, Garsfontein.
Lovely stuff again from Apollos. 2-on-1 makes no mistake. And Garsfontein are running away from Outeniqua at the moment. 2 tries in about a minute and a half, Johan.
Yeah, very impressive also Etienne Tablanche in making sure Garsfontein secured that ball. And he's also a guy that's caught my eye so far. Does the hard work, and a really strong customer, and looks to be working for his teammates, and that's great to see. And also impressive running off the ball there by Kalitz. He's popping up on the left, he's popping up on the right, and that's something you love to see from one of your wingers.
Johannes with another tough kick. And he's getting in his stride, yeah.
It's beautiful by Keegan Johannes. He's got such a lovely kicking style, laid back, just a good old swing of the right foot, and lovely kicking style, keeps it simple. And at this stage, Garsfontein is running away with this match, 24 points to 8.
Robinson. Been very impressed with the kickoffs, Johan. Very contestable. Outeniqua have it back. What can they do? Lots again. That must be his 20th carry of the game.
Lots is used heavily. And once again, Robinson just spots the tiniest of openings. Scobot. Can he reach Fontaine? Fontaine with a carry. Fontaine up the middle. Oh, and he gets poleaxed.
Great hit there.
Yeah, Fontaine is slow to get up. That was a big hit. As he was falling, he got a hit on the chest. Looked by that man, Etienne to Blanche. And looks like Garsfontein. The referee says no. It's just a little knock on the floor there, and Outeniqua have the feed. But Diego Fontaine, or Darren Fontaine, sorry, very, very slow to get up there. And that was a massive hit.
Johan, there was also a massive hit just after that. Some massive hits in this game today. And it's also really been a physical encounter so far.
Are you already this early in the game, after 29 minutes, get the feeling that Outeniqua needs to be the side that scores next? They might be in a bit of trouble if Garsfontein gets any score for that matter at this stage of the game. See the referee just having a chat there to a couple of the forwards. It's that man Etienne Tablanche is one of them. I feel that he really couldn't help it. Fontaine was on his way to ground already and sort of slipped into that one and really got poleaxed there by Tablanche.
So Robinson needs to make sure of this. And that's a decent kick. As you said, Johan, they really need to be the team that scores next. Only 5 minutes to go.
It's that man Lots, the carrying machine, looking to feed the line out. And they've used Barnard quite a lot, the number 7 flank. Let's see if they try him again. And they do. Unfortunately, that throw goes awry. They're going to get this into the hands of Apollos pretty quickly. Oh, and unfortunately, he's missed behind his back. You could see he was looking for Diego Apollos over there. Was his centre mate, Martin Austin, was really looking to get Apollos into the game there. This stage, it looks like the ball's going to be held up. But then it goes to ground. And Garshi's retained possession. It's that self-same Austin with a kick. And he finds good grass with Stalmeester. He's also a very attacking player, Stalmeester. Unfortunately, the sideline, the extra defender wins there. And it's also not the first time we've seen that today. And something that I feel we should really have a look at in schools rugby. The extra defender, the sideline, is sometimes the best defender.
Always the best defender, Johan. So Ricardo Buerta with the feed. And that's loose, another scrappy line out. And Lots picks it up. Just was interesting in that breakout there. Perhaps Johannes hanging on to that ball a little bit too long, but you could see that what he was trying to do there. Maybe go for the dummy with the defender trying to drift onto Apollos. And then unfortunately, they couldn't just cash in there.
Yeah, I think you realize that the way this match has been going, everybody will shift onto Apollos. And maybe if there was just another gear there, he would have been through on the inside. And it looked like he got stuck in 4th gear, unfortunately, and couldn't get through there. And then the pass was just a little bit late. So it's those small margins, early season. But I must admit, this Garshi's backline looks like one that can catch fire during the season.
And also important to note, Garsfontein played Grey College on Saturday. And so far, they look like they're building good momentum in this game against Outeniqua. And look at the scrum. Almost a tight head there. Robinson, Peterson, to Stolmeester. And this is a great run. Back on the inside of Stolmeester. Was at George High School last year. And Outeniqua not giving up. If they can score, yeah, they'll be right back in the game.
Outeniqua carrying into Garsfontein's 22 now as we see Skabot. Robinson's with a long pass to Fontaine. Beautiful work. Stepped on the inside. Offload. Great stuff. That unfortunately, again, that extra defender, the best defender, the touchline. And it's a bit concerning to see how many times the guys run out of space. You know, since you were 3-4 years old, whenever you got taught to play rugby, you got taught the tram lines is the 5. Once you're in there, make sure you don't get taken out. And unfortunately, we've seen Outeniqua in the space of 2 minutes now, twice losing out to the touchline.
And the same player, Garfley.
Now, you mentioned Garsfontein building nicely for Grey College. Grey College is playing the one match here at North-South, and that'll be Saturday against Garsfontein. Also coming up with a side full of grade 11s is Grey College. And we see a good carry there by Lots.
So Outeniqua, they need to score now. Back on the inside, massive hit. And it's been turned over by that man to Blanche. And the counter's on here, Beitendach. And he finds Kalitz, the man with the jet shoes, toes it ahead. And anything can happen here. Loose ball. Hossy's trying to get it back. But Outeniqua have it, and they're going to run it out through that man. Garfley is having a cracker at the moment, but he finds the touchline again. Can you believe it, Johan?
Yeah, unfortunate. Another very, very big hit there on Garfley as well. And beautiful counter-attack there by Garsfontein. Looking like a really, really dangerous outfit here early on day one of the North-South tournament at Menlo Park. And we'll have to keep an eye on Garsfontein during the rest of the tournament. So
and here's a chance. Towed ahead by Claessens. And that's neatly done. And a swan dive as well. Little chip over the top. What a try.
Our great vision showed there by Yuri Claessens. I mentioned his name to you earlier as one of the names mentioned by Old Boy Bay of Swanepoel as a man to watch. And beautiful, beautiful try by Yuri Claessens. And just a little bit of individual brilliance. And this Garsfontein side is full of that. If you think of names like Yuri Claessens, Keegan Johannes, Diego Apollos, Kali Karlitz, full of individual brilliance, not to even mention Etienne Tablanche. And this is a quality outfit from Garsfontein. I'd like to see that Transvalia side.
It'll be interesting. They drew to Monument as well a few weeks ago. This Garsfontein side has 6 players who have represented the province at some level. And Johannes just looking to put more points on the board as we go into half-time. It's another sweet strike, but it just doesn't make it. Johan, thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, I thought Outeniqua was good at stages. They do look like a side that's a little bit disjointed. Does look like a first game of the season sort of affair. And then on the other hand, Garsfontein has been good throughout. I mean, individual brilliance, also a couple of good team efforts, you know, driving maul, showing some cohesion at least. And yeah, I think it should make for an interesting second half. Although, like mentioned earlier, if Outeniqua isn't the next to score, then the score will get big.
And also Outeniqua have also had their chances. They just haven't managed to cash in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that, like we mentioned earlier, Gaffley, the right wing, or the left wing, has been tackled into touch 4 occasions in the first half. 2 of them in the 22, and definitely had the opportunities. Very promising is Nadine Robertson, looking really good. And then Corneille Strubich was very busy in the first 15, but he sort of disappeared in the last 20. And maybe he'll get back into the game early in the first half.
We're going to take a break. Second 35 minutes coming up shortly.
He gets ready for Saturday morning cricket an hour before he has to. He practices his swing, telling anyone who'll listen that one day he'll face the best cricketers in the world. His dad hasn't told him yet that they've got tickets to the upcoming test match. Protect your future memories by ensuring the one thing that makes your son's dreams possible: your income. Follow the link to learn more about Liberty's income protection. Liberty, the advantage of knowing.
What do Outeniqua have to do in the second half?
Keep hold of the ball. Simple. Go through the phases. They were looking dangerous when they went through the phases. Big ball carriers, Lotz, Struvich, bring them into the game. Barnard has been impressive as well, the number 7 flanker. The red scrum cap is all over the field. So I think if they can keep hold of the ball, they'll be dangerous. But then if they give Garsfontein an opportunity to counter-attack, they're in trouble. Garsfontein's just got amazing skills right through the back line, and been very impressed, like we mentioned right from the start with Diego Apollos. But then also what's happening around him. Players running off the ball really well. So yeah, Outeniqua will have to, I think, keep the game a little bit tighter, make sure they hang on to their possession, and don't kick balls away, because when they kick it away, they're in trouble.
And the decision-making of Garsfontein has been phenomenal, really. Their 2-on-1 situations, they've always been clinical.
Yeah, they have, and we just saw Wessel du Plessis, the coach of Grey College's first side, just walking past here, and obviously Wessel came a few days earlier, and just checking out what he'll be up against on Saturday. And will be interesting to have a chat to Wes later. Definitely he'll be impressed as we see the man of the match of the first game on screen at this stage, adjudicated by Mr. Potefuri, ex-Blue Bull player, and it was Janse van Rensburg, the flanker, number 7 from Waterkloof, that got the nod in their victory over Durbanville. But yeah, already licking my lips for the clash on Saturday. Garsfontein versus Grey College, as we see Robinson restarting the second half with another beautiful kickoff taken in by Johanre Buitendag for Garsfontein, who's also had a busy first half.
He did indeed. And Johannes, it's an interesting kick. And it's a penalty to Outeniqua.
And that's so difficult for a forward to retreat there. I mean, they've done the work, they got the ball to their fly-off, they did their part of the trick, and then unfortunately he kicks it right up, and they're in the 10-meter space. Where do they go?
So Outeniqua with a chance to just build some momentum. It's just outside the 5-meter. Will they get the ball going here, Johan?
Well, they'll have to, as we see that mountain of a man, Lots just jogging up. Like I mentioned earlier, if I look at the haircuts of some of the players of Outeniqua, I gather they're the grade 11s. And what a grade 11 to be. And as we see the poach by Garsfontein in the front of the line out, the throw was once again meant for Barnard, but never got close. Taken in though by Gaffley. He's been dangerous, ball in hand. Flings the pass out to Steelmeester. Skarbot out to Robinson. Robinson out to Hendrik Hutting.
That's great defense by Apollos.
Yeah, I haven't seen much of Hutting this game so far. Apollos wrapping up, man and ball, same time. And Outeniqua, unfortunately, just going a little bit backwards, but great defense by Garsfontein at this stage. As we see Robinson once again, the show and go, but this time he's watched very carefully. Yeah, that looked like Outeniqua went straight off their feet. They're under pressure at the breakdown, and that's why they're going straight off their feet.
Garsfontein going for touch through Johannes. And that's a great kick by Johannes.
That's a quality kick, and you could see in that previous phase, Outeniqua was playing backwards. That meant the cleaners wasn't getting to the racks, and we feel that split second late, then you just go off your feet and trying to protect the ball.
Puerto with the feed. Johannes. Apollos, the space rocket. One man a beat. Great defense there, but gets the offload. And this is phenomenal play. Snyman gets a double.
Yeah, it's just a bit too easy for Diego Apollos in that outside channel. Amazing balance when he runs with the ball, and makes you guess, you don't know which way he's going to go. First went on the outside, then went on the inside. Thought it was a brilliant tackle by Steelmeester to just delay that try. But then off the ground, the little offload, the little sunny ball by Diego Apollos, and it looks like there's not much that the man can't do.
So Junior Snyman, second try of the game, having a field day. Actually, all of these forwards for Garsfontein are having a good outing.
Yeah, they are, and this is turning into quite a big character test now for Outeniqua here in the second half. 3.5 minutes gone. Johannes lining up another conversion, another difficult one, by the way, and 36 points to 8 down. Outeniqua will have to dig deep.
Johannes really getting into the rhythm here. Another terrific kick.
Yeah, that was just poetry in motion, from the right-hand touchline. And Keegan Johannes looking really good at this stage with his goal kicking. And also encouraging signs for the season. Obviously, you're not going to be leading 36 points or 38 points to 8 after 38 minutes of rugby every game. So you need your goal kicker to be firing. Unfortunately, Ter Blanche is taking his eyes off that one and losing it forward, giving possession to Outeniqua as we see Skarbot going down the blind side. The big carry by Jaco Gerber. Garsfontein once again in very quickly on the ball. So we now see Gaffley to that man Mountain Lots with a great carry there by Lots, and Skarbot once again going down the blind side. Very little space there for the wing, and at this stage probably Skarbot just overplaying that blind side just a little bit. Touch judge just got his flag up, and it's actually Outeniqua once again that can feed the line out. Lots, I've been very impressed. He's been working really hard in the losing side, and let's see if he can get his line out throw going as well. Barnard has been the main target in the line outs for Outeniqua. Once again, it goes to that man Barnard. Down from the top to Skarbot. Robinson with a feed. Hutting totally not expecting that pass. And here's the opportunity for Garsfontein on the counter-attack again.
Beautiful stepping there. Jago Garsfontein, they go blind. Chip ahead. And Stolmeesters at the back. And it's a quick line out. Apollos, the danger man, sees a bit of space, mixing up his game. That's not a bad result.
No, it's a great result. I guess he would have loved it to just stay in the field maybe. He maybe just came off the side of the boot just a little bit. But there was so much space there. That kick was always on. You know, the little bit of a slice works in your favour. The little bit of a draw would have worked in his favour. So that was just the percentage play. And I think that's what he's really good at. He plays the percentages really well. And he reads the game really well. Very, very exciting player to have a look for the future.
Lots. And just on Apollos, it seems as if he's been in every single try almost, Johan.
Yeah, the quality players get their hands on the ball, and they get themselves into those positions so that they're always involved in the game. And yeah, it's a pleasure to watch.
Duplessis, and the reserve scrum off's on. Robinson, good play by the number 10. Garsfontein going for the choke tackle, but Outeniqua managed to get to ground, looking to build some rhythm here, and it's gone back, so it's play on. Outeniqua have numbers on the left. There's a mismatch, 2-on-1, and look at this from Petersen. He's got tons of pace, but good defense by Garsfontein.
Yeah, there was good defense, but once again tackled into touch. And you can clearly see with Andre Pretorius coming on now as reserve scrum off, he'll be clearing a little bit quicker. It doesn't look like he's going to attack the blind side as much, and I think that's why the change was made. Skarbot, a very good player, nice and strong, but he does do a lot of work on his own, and I think Outeniqua wants to get their hands on the ball and some quick ball by that.
Claessens to Johannes. Interesting chip. Austin gathers. He's got Apollos on his outside. And Drian Lerm has pace. He could go all the way. And he is going to go all the way. And he's going to score under the sticks.
Poetry, poetry, poetry. Beautiful vision by Johannes. It looked almost like that was maybe a bit of a rehearsed move. Austin taking it beautifully out of the air. Feeding Apollos out to Drian Lerm, whose older brother Ruan also played for Garsies, not to be mistaken for Ruan Lerm that also played for the Lions. But beautiful try, and Garsfontein running riot at this stage.
I think Johannes has been watching good old Bowden Barrett. The little chip from inside the 22, perfect bounce, sitting up for his players, and then Lerm just had the pace to go all the way. And Garsfontein are looking in a mean and hungry mood, Johan.
Most definitely. Sorry for that. And it's also been made a little bit easier at this stage by Outeniqua, who's losing possession quite a lot. And Garsfontein really capitalizing on that.
Buitendag. And that's great running by the number 6. A tremendous offload there to the hooker, Ricardo Buera, but it's gone forward. And Outeniqua have the scrum.
Yeah, Garsfontein will do well to keep their discipline up now and, you know, not look for that every 50-50 ball. And, you know, leading at 45-8, you might forgive them for that. But I think it's very important, especially with the, I can promise you their one eye is already on Saturday. And it's very important for them to keep their structures at this stage. Mentioned it earlier, you know, you won't be leading 45-8 on Saturday, 9 minutes into the second half. So it's very important for them to keep their structures at this stage. See Pretorius with a feed. We see that big centre Hutting getting more into the game in the second half. Beautifully, beautifully defended though by Blanche once again. See Outeniqua carrying it up next to the ruck. And ripped out of the tackle. That man Blanche with a carry. Gets the ball away to Johannes. Apollos on the outside. Apollos coming in for the cut. Johannes on his own, beautiful defense. Last line of defense. Was that the number 8 Struvich? All the way back in the last line of defense. Awesome tackle and a chance for Outeniqua to perhaps clear. No! Kick charge down and over. Garsfontein. Cornay Struvich will be distraught with that. Worked so hard to get into the last ditch tackle. And then the mistake made against by Outeniqua. Garsfontein over.
And guess who it is?
Must be Snyman. No, it's Diego Apollos. I saw Snyman running back as well and thought he got in for his third, but Diego Apollos, you know, like we mentioned, he's just everywhere.
He's proving to be the business. And he was in the SA school side last year. And he actually scored a try against France as well.
Partnered up in the centres last year for SA Schools with Rikus Pretorius from Bloemfontein, who's now studying in Stellenbosch. And looking forward to seeing Rikus making his mark one of these days. One of the most talented centres in schools boys rugby in the last decade. And what a pairing they made, Rikus Pretorius and Diego Apollos. Unfortunately, things didn't always go seemingly well for the SA Schools side last year. As Johannes pushes that one wide across the face of the post. And very interesting, you know, the side is leading by 50 points to 8. But I can remember only 1 or 2 tries that were scored under the sticks. All the other tries for Garsfontein out wide, which means they are scoring quality tries. It's not a walkover. Outeniqua is not just lying down. Garsfontein really is putting on the quality.
Robinson. And Buitendag can't hang on to that. So Outeniqua now with a rare opportunity just outside the 22, and Hatting, he hasn't given up and he's been running strong all day. Big carry from the number 12, Pretorius, and Lots. There's your man, Johan.
Yeah, he's just such a willing carrier as Lots. Pretorius getting it to Robinson. Beautiful angled run there in the midfield from, it looked like fullback Stalmeester. And but once again, the ball is lost and Garsfontein kick it downfield. That man, Drian Laram, chasing behind it. Oh, and then he goes straight in onto the player. Referee's got the advantage going out. Good run now for Outeniqua. Carrying it up strongly into the half of Garsfontein.
And here we go. Outeniqua now on the front foot. They need quick ball. Robinson to Stalmeester. And the number 18 taking it back into the traffic.
Bennett Norkia carrying it in there, along with Andre Pretorius. Replacements on the field as that's Pretorius out to Bram van Heijsteen. Good carry by the tight head of Outeniqua. Pretorius once again. Looks like Stalmeester. Stalmeester getting into the game more and more. Offload. Pretorius once again very quickly there. Clears quickly. Out to Robinson. Opportunity on for Peterson on the outside for Outeniqua.
Pretorius is at the base. Finds Robinson. It's the big number 5, Peter Ferreira. And surely now for Outeniqua, Robinson. And that's a neat finish, Johan.
Yeah, beautiful. You know, such a talented runner with ball in hand. Like we mentioned with Apollos, very balanced. You know, carrying the ball in 2 hands. Players don't really know where he's going to go. Steps off both feet. In that instant, great step of the left. You know, space just opening up. And in under the pace, Zinedine Robinson.
And just in the context of the whole season, Johan, Outeniqua last year in 2017, they finished 14th in the country. And this year, they have a lot of players who did play for SWD last year. And you do get the feeling into a few more games into the season, they will find themselves.
Yeah, as we see the conversion made there by Darren Fortuin. Interesting that Robinson did not take that conversion. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I think they're just coming in a little bit undercooked. Playing just the one warm-up game. You know, sides structure their seasons differently. They want to peak at different stages. And maybe Outeniqua is looking at a later stage in the season, protecting injuries, protecting players. But I think if you draw somebody like Garsfontein on the first day of North-South, it'll be wise to just play a couple of games before that.
Also, Outeniqua playing in the World School Series next week.
That might be, you know, one of the reasons, just trying to keep the legs fresh. See, Great College is also going in. If you look at that, only playing Welkom Gymnasium, coming to the tournament here, and then heading off to Paul for the World Schools tournament. So yeah, there's different ways of putting the season together. Beautifully taken by Barnard, and he's been heavily involved at line-out time as well. As we see Andre Pretorius, the scrum half, marshalling the troops there. Pretorius came on in jersey number 20, replacing Skabot. And well done, well defended by Garsfontein there, just keeping them all up, and the ball becoming unplayable, and referee says use it or lose it.
And thank you to Liberty again for making the stream possible, and also Menlo Park for hosting the event. It's a great initiative, Johan.
Yeah, I mean, South Africa right over the years, North-South, the question's always there. So now we're answering it at a tournament in Pretoria. Used to be also at Waterkloof, now we're here at Menlo Park. I think it's an awesome idea, awesome initiative, and I know with the start of the tournament, Peter Rousseau was still at Paul Gymnasium. He was also involved in that, and I think it's a brilliant initiative.
If we also just look at the past results of these sides when they have met each other. In 2016, Garsfontein won 35-24. In 2015, Outeniqua had a victory, 24 points to 10. And then back in 2014, Garsfontein won 13-12. So Garsfontein going for 2 in a row here against the men from George.
You see Austin and Johannes just getting in a terrible tangle there. And that's one of those again. What are you going to do? You are going to concede the penalty in a situation like that. And unfortunately for Austin and Johannes, just getting into a mix-up there. As we see, it looks like Fontaine has taken over the kicking. And he's done it with a plong. Very good touch finder there by Darren Fontaine. And Outeniqua having another chance to attack. In the last 5 minutes, ever so slightly getting into the game again, and maybe they'll be striking up a rhythm for the last 18 or 19 minutes, as we see that man Lots walking gingerly to the line out. He's carried a lot of ball today.
Lineout's getting better as the game has gone on, and Pretorius, interesting decision there. And it's all over the place at the moment.
You called the decision interesting. I think we might use a few other words. Carrying the ball in your opposition's 22, winning a line out and kicking it away. That's just bad decision making by Outeniqua. Unfortunately, there's no other way to put that. And interestingly, that was one of the first line outs that did not go to Barnard. It went to Volskenk, the replacement, and won comfortably.
Scrappy at line-out time. Carson's at the base. Johannes doesn't find touch. And here is a chance for Outeniqua. Stalmeester. Beautiful chance coming up here. Finds the right winger, Petersen.
It was chipped ahead by Zinedine Robinson. And it rolls out just in the corner. And a lot of positional changes that's been made in the back line of Outeniqua. I see Skabot, it looks like he's operating on the right wing at this stage. And Andre Pretorius came on at scrum off for him. And Skabot moved into the place of Dylan Petersen. In fact, Skabot playing on fullback. And Stalmeester playing on the right wing at this stage. As Garsfontein attack right through the middle, looks like that man Austin unfortunately lost forward by Junior Snyman. And just those 50-50 passes not going to hand. And maybe you can forgive Garsfontein for just unraveling just a little bit. you know, leading by 35 points, you know, going for the magic balls.
I agree, Johan. Also, as there's 35 points in the game, why not throw the ball around and score some phenomenal tries?
Yeah, for sure. And Outeniqua's Andre Pretorius, the reserve scrum half, will have the opportunity to feed once again. And you do almost feel for Outeniqua's sake at this stage, and hope that they can turn in some points again. As we see Robinson out to Hatting. Hatting across the face of Stalmeester into the hands of Skabot, who started the match as scrum half. I think that came out the head of one of the Outeniqua players, and that's why the referee said carry on. And looks like Garsfontein has managed to regain possession at this stage.
So what will Garsfontein do from deep inside that 22? As we say that, penalty to Outeniqua.
Yeah, Outeniqua camping in the area now as it's taken quickly by Pretorius. Looking for a run, and it's that man Lotz again carrying the ball up. Garsfontein in very quickly over that ball. But well cleaned out by Outeniqua as Pretorius digs for it. It's that man Robinson. Big collision as it Barnard who just gets the pass away. At least Outeniqua managing to keep hold of the ball at this stage. It's very scrappy, but they do still have possession as Robinson gets the offload away. Big defense by Garsfontein.
Pretorius, Zidane, trying to beat the first defender again.
The referee's penalising Garsfontein quite heavily at this stage, and something they need to look at. Just let the discipline stay, as we see Darren Fortain once again looking at getting the ball into touch. And another good kick by Fortain, and a great opportunity for Outeniqua.
If Outeniqua's decision making had been a bit better, you'd think that they would have a few more tries here, Johan.
Yeah, I do. I think they've just been poor in the red zone today. And once again, we keep on getting back to that, unfortunately. You know, that is what happens early in the season. You get more clinical, the more you get to gel, and the more you get to know the guy next to you. Even though they played together last year, a lot of the guys, this is a year later, and you need to get that synergy back.
Lots with a good feed. The more collapsed legally there. Zidane, Robinson, and Outeniqua desperately trying to get over the whitewash. And look at that counter-rucking by Garsfontein. And there's massive numbers on the right here. Good defense by Stalmeester. He had to make that tackle. And look at this. 3-on-1 at the moment. And then Karlitz lets the ball go forward. That could have been all over there.
Yeah, that should have been all over. He had the line at his mercy, be it from 80 meters out. But with the pace he has, you know, he could have gone all the way. But it was a great spot tackle there by Stalmeester. And like you mentioned, it was one he had to make. And Outeniqua still camping in the territory here of Garsfontein at this stage. And very, very important for Outeniqua. Also with an eye on Saturday. Gaining some momentum. Another tough game coming up on Saturday. North-South. There's no easy games here. As we saw with Durbanville taking Waterkloof down to the wire. So Garsfontein will definitely be looking to keep their momentum and Outeniqua to build theirs.
So Pretorius with the feed. Pretorius, Robinson, back to Hatting. It's good defense from Garsfontein, but 2-on-1 here on the right. Skabot into the 22 now. Pretorius. Good run there by Ruan Barnard. He's had a decent game despite the scoreline. And Jaco Gerber, the Lucette prop, going through the phases. Barnstorming run there by the prop forward. And Garsfontein, do they have the turnover here?
They do.
They do. Austin.
But this is a lot better though by Outeniqua. And they're really camping in the 22 of Garsfontein at this stage. Only thing they need to do is get over the line. That was a proper carry by prop Jaco Gerber. Another big carry by one of the loose forwards. And like you mentioned, Rowan Barnard also getting across the field at this stage. There's been individually some good performances on the Outeniqua side. Cohesively as a unit, they're just not there today.
Lots with the feed. Scrappy again, but luckily they have it back. The big number 3, Van Heesteen, was in the Academy Week side last year. Robinson back to Hadding, getting through an awful amount of work in the centre position.
Another big carry there by Jaco Gerber. And Jaco Gerber getting more and more involved in the match as we see Stalmeester. Beautiful tap on there into the hands of Skabot. The starting scrum off now playing on the wing and the fullback. As we see Outeniqua carrying it up close and then losing the ball forward. But first there was advantage to Outeniqua. A little knock on there by Garsfontein as well. And Outeniqua will have yet another opportunity in the 22 of Garsies, with Garsfontein leading this match 50 points to 15. It's been a great performance.
It has been indeed. Garsfontein have been devastating, and it's a good response from their loss on Saturday last week.
Yeah, I think they were the last to expect losing to Transvaal. Like you mentioned earlier, the first time in 25 years. Another school coming up through the ranks, great rugby program in place, Transvaal. I think it's one of the schools that we'll see here in the future at Noord-Suid. We see Outeniqua carrying it up through the centres. Good work done as Pretorius gets in. He's very quick to the breakdown, is Pretorius. Stalmeester takes his eyes off it. Unfortunately, Stalmeester takes his eyes off it and he knocks the ball forward. Andre Pretorius has definitely made an impact with the ball speed that Outeniqua is receiving at this stage. Quick to the rack, doing that real number 9 work, just cleaning the rack and getting the ball into the hands of Zinedine Robertson pretty quickly.
I agree, Johan. They've been more competitive in the second half and really testing Garsfontein's defence. But Garsfontein, you must give it to them as well. Their defensive effort has been very impressive.
Claessen's out. Goes for the little chip kick. Charged down by Outeniqua, and Outeniqua looking to regain the possession here. Pretorius almost went in looking for that ball. Looks like Garsfontein has secured it though. Gets back and the clearance kick is made as we see another replacement on for Outeniqua. The number 22, Matthew Thorne, onto the field for Outeniqua. And the changes has been rung here in day 1 of the Menlo Park North-South tournament, as we see Vanny Strydom, the ex-manager of the Bulls, just here in front of us. And lots of big names that we'll see here next to the field over the next few days.
And also at the St. John's Festival as well, and the Kersney Festival. It's a great time of the year.
Yeah, school rugby at its best, and once again thank you to Liberty Live for making this live feed possible for you guys, and giving these youngsters the opportunity to take the game out. You know, these games would not have been televised otherwise, and now guys can sit there looking at the smart TV and seeing these youngsters play, which is really important. As we see one of the Outeniqua tighties leaving the field. It does look like Bram van Heesteen to me, leaving the field at this stage for Outeniqua. And we'll try and see by who he is replaced. He had a pretty solid outing, got his hands on the balls quite a few times. Player that played Academy Week, like you said, last year. And another decent showing for him here.
So Outeniqua not lying down. And it's a turnover again at line-out time. Garsfontein, or they've been camped here for quite a few minutes, Johan. Can't seem to get out of their 22. Robinson, the danger man, with the skip pass. Peterson, there's a tricky one for him to gather. And they go back to the right-hand side of the field.
Looks like Adrian Bauer carrying that one up in the midfield, and quite a lot of replacements are now for Outeniqua. Looking to speed up things with the fresh legs as they go around the fringes once again, but it's another turnover for Garsies, and this is where they're dangerous. But unfortunately, they lose it forward again, or was that off the foot? Yeah, referee says Garsfontein lost it. Did not lose the ball forward, it went off the foot, and unfortunately it was spilled then by Outeniqua, and Garsfontein breathes again.
Johan, with 5 minutes to go, who's your man of the match? Liberty man of the match.
You really want me to answer that? No, Diego Apollos, by a long way. You can obviously see the class of the player. He is just a level above most of the guys on the field. Balanced runner, makes the right decisions at the right times, and definitely my man of the match.
And Jago Garsfontein, Kalitz, look at the pace. 2-on-1, he's got Claessens on his outside, but he decides to go on his own.
Claessens in the action again. That big man, Blanche, carrying the ball up strongly as he's done all day. Claessens gets the ball out. Wasn't expecting that one, but still getting the ball out. Garsfontein in the midfield, and there's a bit of a dangerous tackle, but the referee says carry on. And Outeniqua gets the penalty. Holding on, says the referee, and Outeniqua in over that ball. And a lot of the replacements for Outeniqua really willing to play. But Garsfontein so dangerous with ball in hand. The pace of Kalitz, the guile of Apollos, and the decision making of Johannes the whole day. Such a dangerous combination. Super kick.
Great kick by Fontaine. So in the second half, Johan, it's only been 19 points to Garsfontein, 7 points to Outeniqua. Much better performance by Outeniqua in the second half, but you do feel that they should have cashed in more.
Yeah, they literally have been holding on to the ball, and that's what we said. For the last 10 minutes, they were carrying the ball in the Garsies half, and then unfortunately, saying that they're keeping it, then just losing it at the critical stages. But when they've held on to the ball, they've looked quite good. And this man has tried his heart.
It's Hatting carrying it up.
Hatting has really tried his heart out in the second half for Outeniqua, as we see them going around the fringes again. Carried up by that prop, Jaco Gerber again. And lots for the so many time didn't carry. Robinson with a little dink. And unfortunately, there's way too much on that one. But Outeniqua, once again, just at the critical stages, the decision-making, just not up to standard, as we see a whole host of replacements for Garsfontein.
Bringing on the numbers in the last 2 minutes. Jaden Jooster, Campbell Willemse also coming onto the field.
And I think Dylan Alkers as well. I think I saw the number 22 jumper running on there as well. And guys have made some huge efforts today, you know, getting the high fives with the physio. And huge efforts, the coach as well, you know. And the coaches will be proud of the performance that the guys have put on, especially in the first 50 minutes.
And they go blind. Pretorius. Peterson doing well to clean up the ball there. Pretorius finds Gerber. One of these front rows definitely deserve a try here. Johan, look at Lots.
Lots for the 30th time today, I guess, carrying very strongly as we see the ball going down the hands and finished by number 13, Darren Fontaine. And after sustained pressure at last, Outeniqua goes over. And well deserved, I may add.
And they've really worked for all their 3 tries as well, Outeniqua.
No, it was hard work for them out here today, and got to give special mention to that man, Lots, the hooker. I mean, he's carried probably close to 20 times today, and his work in the loose has been nothing short of amazing, and really tried his heart out, as has quite a few of his teammates. But with 20 seconds to go on the clock, they've got a conversion to make the scoreline 50 points to 22.
Fontaine with the kick. Right on the touchline.
Ah, pure strike. Pure. And straight through the middle as we hear the hooter. Convincing victory in the second match of the first sides at the first day of the North-South tournament here at Menlo Park. Justin, your thoughts?
Well, I thought Garsfontein were devastating, especially after a loss against Transvaal last week. And they do look promising for Saturday, Johan.
Yeah, they do, and big game lying ahead for them on Saturday against Great College from Bloemfontein, the perennial powerhouses in school rugby. And it will be a titanic battle here at Menlo Park. Outeniqua better in the second half, held on to the ball, but I think their lack of match practice just showed, especially in that first half. They were promising, but made some bad errors, you know, and gave Garsfontein the opportunity to counter-attack, and boy did they take it.